granted you that, like, that's cool. You ain't got no, you know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about actually go for it. You actually a man and you're going for that type of support from the government. I feel like you're less of a man if you do that. You know, you're a whole kid. Like, you still like a boy. You know what I'm saying? You ain't doing shit. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that you are confident enough to even come outside and be like, buy you a burger, nigga, is baffling to me. It's baffling to me. Now I'm gonna get back on the women. There's a lot of women out there that act like they don't need child support, but undercover is getting child support. You're the worst in the world. Won't you just be honest and say you need child support? I mean, we all need support. You shouldn't be raising kids by yourself. You need child support. Don't try to act super hard like you don't need it and downplay all the other women. You need child support. Don't ever do that. All the women, I'm just being honest, like, don't downplay. If you ain't had no baby yet, don't downplay a woman that didn't have a baby and she deserves child support. Women that act like they.
So go ahead, Ronnie. Do you agree or disagree with Scrappy when it comes to
A lot of
a child or spousal support?
I agree with him and I also disagree with him at the same time because there's some men that actually do need it. There's some single father that don't not able to make a certain amount of money due to the fact is because they home taking care of the child, so they have to work the bare minimum because nobody's watching the child while they're at work. So I understand that aspect of it. However, there is some men that they're using this as a way of retaliation against the women because some men are just getting tired of seeing women always winning in court. We talk about this a lot over here, how most of the time the court system does favor the women. So when a man seems like, okay, if I'm able to be victorious in court, then I'm gonna go ahead and see if I could do what I could do to get this type of money from the court system and also from the woman. Do that make them less weak of a man? Of course. But if they feel like they can win it, then they could go ahead and win it. That's just my point of view. You know what I mean? So Hakeem, I want to know your thoughts on this because Scrappy did make a good point on that aspect.
So I want people to remember who's talking. This is an entertainer who does shows and gets paid 40 to 50,000 per show, and he gets royalty checks. And he was on a nationally syndicated television giving advice about child support for regular people. Shut his dumb ass up. Most people who don't even make that kind of money is given that kind of money. There's a negative stigmatism behind child support already. There's always an opinion about when men seek child support, overlooking the fact that he's taking responsibility and he needs a little bit more. What's the difference about it? I don't think it makes a person less of a man who asks for child support. Does it make a woman less of a man a woman who asks for child support? And then a woman, you got some women who make 50, 60, 80, 100K asking for child support. So it is what it is. Greg Glide said, I have 3 kids. My wife and I have talked about if we split, we both said no one is paying child support. It's called being a parent. Thank you, Clive. Some things already are going to be settled if you have a good co-parenting situation. This goes all the way back with know the person who you having kids with. Marry before you carry. You know what I mean? Know if this the person you can be able to work with after if somehow y'all don't work out. But at the end of the day, the kids got to get split. But also, I want to land this plane. Not everybody paying high child support. It's a lot of people ain't making that kind of money. Some of these guys are paying $120 a week, fam. $80 a week. Like when we hear this story, yes, you got some outliers, but when we talking about from the bulk of it, ain't nobody paying 10, 20 grand unless you're an entertainer. A regular person at the max is paying $200-300 a month. Put 2 children. Personally, I know somebody who's paying $200 for 2 children. That's not even enough for the kid to even been taken care of. You know what I mean? So I'll land it right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it comes to Little Scrappy, I disagree when it comes to the child support and also the spousal support. When it comes to child support, we see there's a difference in economy and everything. So if a man has forced to get custody with the child and everything, there is a possibility that he might be held. And and if the man and the woman he had a baby with can't really communicate, the part of the resort is probably go to court and try to get child support if you can't communicate well. So I'm looking at that as I'm looking at kind of in that lane. So, and also with the spousal support and everything, you know, sometimes we hear a lot of men, like men, a lot of women divorces from a man, and a lot of women, when it comes to they the one fall for the divorce and everything because they're not happy and everything. And to men, that the men that was invested into the marriage and everything, it hurts when the women want a divorce, they want to work it, and they want to work it out, and it doesn't work no more. So when it comes to that aspect and everything, in the mindset of the man, especially if a woman's making a little bit more than a man, and I don't mind if a man has some positive support and everything, because you kind of, shatter of what men think about staying in the marriage and everything, also working out and everything. And to me, when a man asks for child support, I have no problem with it. If he needs a little bit of help and everything, it's there to assist. But usually, if a man, if you want child spousal support, it's either he's very angry with a woman and he might feel some type of way, or he might ask for spousal support for 6 months to a year or so to get back on his feet, and after that, he probably doesn't need it anymore.